All right, good evening and welcome to the April GC meeting. Call the meeting to order at 5:34 p.m. Let's do a roll call to see who's present. This is Brian and I'm present.
This is Rainey, and I'm present.
This is Hay, and I'm present.
We have a quorum. Item 3 on the agenda, Governing Council Administrative Discussion and Action Items 3.1, a recommendation to approve the agenda for the April 20th, 2026 regular meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve the agenda for April 20th, 2026 regular meeting.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 3.2, a recommendation to approve the minutes from the March 16th, 2026 regular meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
This is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve the minutes that Lori did. Thank you, Lori, for the March 16th, 2026 regular meeting.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 4, public comment. Do we have anybody online this evening who wishes to provide public comments? Hearing none. We will move on to item number 5, stakeholder reports and action items. 5.1, director's report. Lori.
Thank you, everyone. Well, we are getting close to the end of the school year. We are in the midst of state testing. So we have done reading and math for our middle school students. Our third graders were testing today. I think our fourth and fifth grade finish up in the next couple days. Then we'll do the science for fifth and eighth grade, and we will be done with state testing. And I think I can report that it's gone quite smoothly so far this year. We will then move on in May to our end of year testing that we share with families. That will include the number sense screener, the USNS. It will include the DIBELS, which is a test of oral reading fluency. It will include the iReady in reading and math for our students in third through eighth grade, and it will include iStation Amira in reading and math for our students in kindergarten through second grade. We are preparing this week for our spring celebration. It will be on Friday. We are celebrating Earth Day, and we will be presenting the work of our classes related to outdoor learning and their analysis and assessment of human impacts on the environment, which can be, a very small scale investigation for kindergartners and more elaborate for middle schoolers and everything in between. So if any of you guys are available, I would love to see you at that event. We are also, Bella, our community school coordinator, was able to get us a Explora Family Science Night, which is not something we were expecting to be able to have because we weren't included initially. That's going to be May 7th at Explora. And so teachers go about an hour early, and then families come from 6 to 8. I'm hopeful that they're also including the free memberships for families from Explora, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. Today was a Bosque Day for middle school. We are in the process of passing out intent to employ letters to employees for next year. Once those are signed and returned to us, then that basically guarantees those folks a contract for next year. We're also in the process of doing design work for next year and going through the hiring process. We will probably need to do some hiring, but spots that are opening up are first offered to internal candidates. So we're in that process right now. We are I'm still working with that innovative staffing grant that I've mentioned previously. Went to a 2-day workshop for that in early April. And then I plan to go in May to visit in Carlsbad where they are about a year ahead of us in implementing this model. And let's see what else. Oh, community school grant for next year and out of school time grant for next year that pays for Awesome Hour are both due at the end of the week. So it's a busy time, it's exciting time. And it's a time to kind of see the flourishing of our students as they come into the end of the school year. Are there any questions from the governing council?
First, I concur. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, are you anticipating that the school's going to hit 95% participation on assessments?
Yes, very much so. Applauding our middle schoolers when they took the ELA assessment, we had 100% attendance.
And the Earth Day activity this Friday, what time is that?
Hold please, and I will tell you exactly.
Okay.
5:30 to 7:30.
Thank you,
It's
Kana.
well, we've been advertising it, Lori, as 5:30 to 7:30. So
Yeah, I was just gonna
yeah,
check what was
I
in the
was
school
like, I don't.
calendar.
I think somebody couldn't find you, so they just was like,
No, that's perfect.
yeah.
That's perfect.
And something you didn't mention, but I kind of want to have on my radar, are you doing any sort of event for the eighth graders as they finish up their Mount Mahogany journey?
Yes, we have a lot of events coming up in May. So if you want to take note on those, we have the eighth grade graduation is on Thursday, May 28th.
Okay.
The Kinder bridging ceremony is on Wednesday, May 27th. That is not in the evening. That's 1:30 to 2:30. We also have a fifth grade event. That fifth grade promotion is on Thursday, May 21st.
Okay.
And also in May, we will have a talent show that will be in the afternoon, not an evening event. We will have our traditional kickball game between the fifth graders and the staff. We may let the eighth graders join in, and we will have our field day, which is a pretty big extravaganza. Yeah, so it gets really busy once we're in May.
I love the term. I haven't heard it before. Kindergarten bridging ceremony.
Yeah, we actually have a little wooden bridge that they walk over, and the parents
Oh,
all line up and make a bridge with their arms, and the kids walk under it. It's super sweet.
and I don't think I have any additional questions. How about for Rainey and Hay? Any questions or comments regarding the director's report?
No, no.
Just commented, no, all good. All right. Lori, thank you very much.
May, Kana, were you gonna include Lauren's news in your report, or should I? Okay,
Yeah, I
Kana.
have it,
Okay, thank you.
Speaking of
and I
which,
put it on I put it on Facebook too today. I
Okay,
don't know if you saw that.
I didn't, but I'm glad you did.
I think I know if it was on Facebook, I did see it. So Kana, we're
Hmm.
you now for the teacher report.
Okay, My computer is like almost actually dead. Not like charge dead. Like it might completely cease to exist. So if I disappear, that's what's going on. I'm gonna share my screen if I can remember how to do that. Is it just share? No, I'm not sure I have screen share.
Should be an up arrow, bottom center-ish.
There's like more share.
Mm,
Sharing is not turned on. I'll
yeah,
send a request.
there you go.
Okay. Um, let's see. Now how do I find it? Sorry, I'm looking. Looking. I made a nice, oh, I see. Okay. All right. I'm going to switch windows and put it on slideshow. All right, everybody can see it now? Woohoo! Okay, I thought I'd go fancy. Plus, I have a lot of good pictures. That is sort of part of the uh, extra I get from being the yearbook teacher. So, so I had wanted to focus on this core value of social justice and empowerment. And there are a lot of ways that we meet this in the classroom. I think we're really good at engaging students with current relevant issues. All across the board, but there's some big action things that have been happening, action events that have been happening in the last month or two that I want to share with you specifically around this core value. And I'm going to try to focus on different like core values or mission things for my next reports as well. Of course, any other questions you have about other things, I'm happy to investigate. So here's some ways that students have been doing like really purposeful work on around this. So fifth grade held their human rights fair, and it was so well attended. I think probably every student went. They made all kinds of yummy goods and beaded bracelets, and they got some donations from a couple of teachers who are artisans, and they had their little tables set up, as you can see. They all participated and had different tables, and each table was raising funds for a certain organization. And so just here's some pictures of the kids doing their work at a relatively quiet moment before it got really crowded. It was really crowded at certain times of day, like middle school lunch. And so they did great. I think every class probably visited, and they sold most of their stuff. In fact, they raised $1,000, which is great. Yeah, right? I know. Uh, just so fabulous. Third grade took a trip to the Roundhouse to lobby legislatures, their legislators. They went on Hunger Action Day, and some wrote letters about that, and you can see they hand delivered them to their different legislators. And others wrote about a capital outlay grant to fix the basketball court, and I think that did pass. I mean, not for us specifically, but one did, right, Lori? That's associated with that?
Uh, yes, Mountain Mahogany specifically is getting $100,000 directly appropriated to the school to fix the basketball court.
Is everybody frozen for me?
Oh.
Okay, so you cut out, but you answered their questions. And they also, you can see each packet's a different, they did it for assorted things. They took the train up. They had a pretty great time. Middle schoolers also wanted to be involved with walkouts that were happening around the city and especially in I think they were protesting like different ICE arrests and ICE being in the city. But of course, they're middle schoolers. So they did it Mount Mahogany style and they got permission to take a walking field trip and they did their little march for freedoms. And here's a picture of, oops, here's a picture of that. Sorry, I'm just not going to touch anything. You can see over there in the corner with the arrow, it was the brainchild of eighth grader Sophia Hawker Roybal, and she came and presented it to leadership. I wrote a whole proposal. So proud of her, but like what agency and advocacy and academic mind, she wrote that proposal all for herself. So we walked around like the city block, and they all chanted and had their little signs. But our teachers live and model these values as well. And right here we have a picture of Lauren Scott. She was named the Fellow of the Year for Teach Plus New Mexico Policy Fellowship, which is pretty great. Yeah, it's just what a honor to be her coworker. And you know, brings a lot of positive attention to our school as well. And I'm not going to read these to you, but I did send you the link if you want to read more about the Teach Policy Fellowships. I put those in there. And these are just some ways that we show up to be advocates and change agents for our community. Does anybody have any questions?
Amazing, Kana. It's
Thank
just
you.
it's so awesome. And whenever I talk about my GC service and the very teeny tiny role that I play, I always brag about the school, and you've just given me more things to brag about when I talk about Mount Mahogany to others. And I hope you'll pass that along to
Hmm.
teachers and the students. They're really
No,
living.
I can't hear you. That's
Okay.
just me.
Can you hear me now? No. Just I mean, Lori, you can hear me, correct? Just that the students and the staff members are living the mission of the school, and it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, I would be happy to pass that on. I have an idea for you guys too, which would be since we're having the spring festival, it would be fabulous if maybe everybody who was there introduced themselves. So we introduced them, Lori, at the spring festival, and maybe if you have a little table, maybe you could reel some people in to serve. I mean, I know you're parent full, but that's okay.
Do you mean for this Friday, Kana?
Hmm.
Okay.
I assume some of you will be there anyway in your parent role. So maybe we could wrangle you all up to the front stage. Lori, I was thinking it'd be great to introduce governing council and also student council.
Yeah, I agree. We should do that.
Any additional comments or questions, Rainey or Hey, for Kana?
I just wanted to say I'm almost never on Facebook, but I got on today and I saw that picture in that post and made me so happy. That's all. It's yeah.
And Hey commented, just want to say it's impressive and hand clapping emoji. Kana, thank you very much. That was very well done.
Hmm. Thank you.
All right. Item 5.3, Family Council Report. Anything, Lori?
I went to their last meeting and I'm happy to, as head teacher representative, I'm happy to just give you a little rundown if you want one.
Yes.
They are hard at work with the Spring Fest. It's a lot for them and trying to recruit new members. They're struggling with not being able to directly email people. So I haven't had a chance to meet with Lori around that. So I was going to see if we could find a solution because they don't, it's just hard for them to organize things without having access to emailing the community. Um, and they're kind of amazing how much they put into our school because it's a very small group of people, and so
When do
I'm
they
not
meet?
surprised they're not here. I don't think it's regularly, but it has been after leadership about once a month, the last two times I've gone. But that might just be because they're planning for the Spring Fest.
Great. I appreciate the report.
Yeah, I just wanted to like shout them out.
Item 5.4, Student Council Reports.
Also me, mostly I'm a little overwhelmed myself. Um, Trying to finish national boards is my last try. So, and some other stuff has happened, plus, yearbook and, well, student council and end of year. So they did write a report, but I wasn't in school today to wrangle somebody to come. So I did send it to you guys in an email. Um, so that's available for you to read. And some of it you're aware of, but I think the really exciting news is they have a draft. I'm going to share it with Lori. One written in like K through three language with a slide deck, and then one more like third through eighth language. So they have a draft of a new constitution, and they want to send that out hopefully next week, get it ratified, so then they can run their elections because they have chosen to rename the positions in more a shared power model than a sort of top down model. And they all chose it. I gave them two options because they were curious about it, and like no one wanted the other one. They were all like, "I would rather be that person." So I'm really proud of them. Yeah, they're a great group of kids, and I
Connor,
will do my best to get somebody next time, even if I'm not here,
I
because my
appreciate
boards are
that.
due. Yeah, my boards are due like right before our next meeting, right after.
Connor, I think I heard you say that you emailed something to us, but I don't see anything in my inbox.
Maybe my okay. Let me check. I will check, but I wonder if I just need to email it to you and have you email it to everybody for me again.
Kind of,
Yeah.
I'm happy to send it out if you send it directly to me. And then I can also post it on the website.
Okay. It'd be nice to be able to send that stuff directly, and I've asked a number of times to be put on an email. So I have a question. There's GC and Governing Council, two different emails. Are they the same email?
Whichever one I use, which I believe is GC, I did add you to.
Okay. Let me check that. That might be the problem.
Okay.
Connor, I know that it has been successful in the past when I don't know which one you've used, but I know that
Okay.
as a PC, we have received things from you in the past.
Okay. I'll try to, I'll send it right now.
Awesome. I just wanted to mention it because you had said that
Yeah.
you got something, and I just want to make sure we get it.
Yeah. I do want you to have it.
All right. Any questions for Kana regarding teacher, family council, and student council reports? That was a lot.
No, I appreciate it a whole lot. Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 6, Finance Committee. 6.1, a discussion item, a summary from the previous Finance Committee meeting on April 16th. Elizabeth.
Hi. So,
Hi,
can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Babs. So I am going to start. Can you see the RFR tracker?
Yes.
Babs. Okay. So, Mary's been quite busy getting things submitted, and most of these are submitted through the end of March, except for some that we're waiting for billing to come through. We did a final billing for the Panorama grant and also for 24109, so that those are all spent. And then the 27416, as soon as we're done with budget, I am going to submit that one. I keep saying I'm going to, but I'm going to do it. And the lunch claims have been filed through the month of March. Are there any questions about the RFRs?
None for me.
All right. So I'm going to jump right into the financials for February. And as of the end of February, we had $799,070 in operational and $1,606,510 in total. And the negative balances you see here are areas that we have submitted or need to submit for RFRs. And some of these have already come through because we are looking at February. So the state's actually been really good about reimbursing us quickly for the most part, which is great. Are there any questions on the statement of financial position? And Ree's already seen this. And here's the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And nothing, there's no red flags here. So if you guys don't have any questions on this, I'm going to jump to, and I'm going through this quicker than normal because we have a lot of bars in budget and a lot of other stuff to get to. So, but if you have any questions, please stop me. Next up is, and I'll make this bigger so you can actually read it, the cash disbursements. We did have, so if you see this one for Cassandra D'Angelo, we did have a lost check, which we voided and then reissued later in the month. And then we had another one for some curriculum materials. So that does happen. Checks get lost, both of those in the mail. And they have to fill out an affidavit and then we reissue the check. Any questions on any of the cash disbursements?
Elizabeth, down toward the bottom, the consulting services for Brenda Sue Griffith, what was that consulting for?
So that she was one of the lobbyists that worked to get us the $100,000.
Thank you very much.
So well spent. Any other questions on the cash disbursements? Okay, I'm going to go to the budget to actual, and the thing that we look for in here are functions that are negative, and we do have two, and I actually made them red, so they should stand out when I get there. And both of those had to do with salaries. Basically, there were actually benefits that were, people changed what they opted to have, and so that went over what we had expected and budgeted for, but we did move those elsewhere in March, so for quarter end they'll look fine. Any questions on the financials for February?
Just a comment. I appreciate the red font. I vote for
Yeah,
keeping that moving
it makes it
forward.
easier for me to find too, so. Babs, I'll keep doing that then. Well, if there are no other questions, then we respectfully request that the GC approve the financial statements and cash disbursements for the month ending February 28th, 2026.
And for Rainey and Hay, that is item 6.2 on the agenda.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve the financial statements and cash disbursements for the month ending February 28th, 2026.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
Motion passes. Item 6.3, recommendation to approve bar FY 26-15, 23,000.
So if this looks familiar, it should, because you guys have already seen it once before. I made a small mistake, and when I went to enter it, I was like, they're never going to accept it. So if you see, there's two lines here, and the bar was only for donations, but I grabbed the whole amount, which included interest income, which we have already budgeted for. So the bar that I'm asking you guys to look at again and approve is for just the donation piece.
So are we looking at, I mean, I don't know if it's the right word, amending the previous bar?
You are absolutely
It's,
correct, Brian.
Okay.
so Mary, do they have to approve it as an amendment to the previous bar?
What I normally do is say that they're amending, and it's so small I can't see the number. Bar, 16, whatever,
26-15.
as amended.
Okay.
So when whoever makes the motion, just the tack on at the end as amended.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-15, 23,000 as amended.
Is there a second?
Sorry, yes, this is Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.4, recommendation to approve bar FY 26-23, 11,000.
So this bar is to budget the change, and this is really, really small. I'll try to make it big enough so you guys can actually see it. So this was the increase in the SEG that we received. And so we are now getting more monthly than we were. And we need to budget the increase, which is just $39,704.74. Can you see that?
Yes, I was looking at the document. I pulled it up from the website, and yes, it's very small.
It's really small. And here's the bar to budget that. And so basically, I'm putting it into some salaries that were a little low in what we had budgeted, and then we also had spent a little bit more in software than we had expected and supplies. So that's where I put those funds. Any questions?
If there are no questions, then I will entertain a motion in a second for item 6.4.
This is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-23, 11,000.
This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
And this is Hay and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.5, recommendation to approve bar FY 26-24, 27,528.
So this is for our community school grant, and we basically got this email saying, I don't know if you can see it, that they were giving us an additional 18,395, which is in the body of the text. And so that's what we're budgeting in the bar. And I put some of it, the other services is for our awesome hour instructors, but the bulk of it I put towards part of our community school coordinator salary. We were budgeting about half of it out of operational. So this, with what we already had, will bump it up to about 75% of her salary. Any questions on this bar?
No questions, but that's good news. Okay. Is there a motion and a second for item 6.5?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-24, 27,528.
This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Hay and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.6, a recommendation to approve bar FY 26-25, 25,153.
And this is our Medicaid fund, and we received, it was an adjustment for last fiscal year, which was more than what we had budgeted. So this available $46,915, that's what we're budgeting in this bar. And I split that between salaries for the nurse and the health assistant, benefits, and then some other charges. Are there any questions on this bar?
Elizabeth, I apologize. Could you give me the explanation again for where this is coming from?
So they do a cost adjustment at the end of the year, and to correct, and it's in our favor for almost $47,000.
From last fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay.
And this, we have already budgeted our nurse in there, but it keeps going forward. So we're basically just putting in for next year.
Gotcha. Thank you. Is there a motion and a second for 6.6?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-25, 25,153.
This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And this is Hay and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.7, a recommendation to approve bar FY 26-26, 26,107.
And this is for our innovative staffing grant, and they have given us more money. So, and part of the grant allows us to buy furniture. So that's what I budgeted for, because Lori wants to get some furniture with the grant. Any questions on this bar?
So it's 11,347 more.
Or are you saying that I got the last digit wrong?
No. I'm looking at the bar. In terms of the additional money, it's 11,347 and 60 cents.
And it does match the email. It is the same number, yeah. Yes.
All right. Is there a motion and a second for 6.7?
Yeah, this is Rainey. I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-26, 26,107.
This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And this is Hay and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.8 is a discussion item, the 2026-2027 budget presentation. Lori, will you be leading this?
Yes, I will. Unfortunately, I'm coughing right now.
That's okay.
Elizabeth, can you pull up the presentation
Sure. So
and
are
share
you
the
gonna,
screen?
you didn't make any changes?
Did make some changes. It's posted to the website.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll have to go find it. Apologies. But I'll do that while Lori's coughing. Poor Lori. Almost there. And we got so many documents, I just have to find it. There it is. So many documents. Okay, let me reshare. Oh, come on. I hid the panels. Now I can't find anything. Apologies.
I can share it now. I'm ready if you can't find it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. This is our budget presentation. Members of the Finance Committee have seen a very close version of this. The state requires that we have public budget meetings. It also requires that we seek input from our community. So when I'm finished with this, I'll share the budget survey that was sent out to families. That's uploaded to the meeting materials for your review. The state, through the State Equalization Guarantee, or the SEG, you might hear us refer to, provides the vast majority of public school funding. It is distributed through a funding formula. So enrollment is the driver of SEG funding, but it's not just a straight flat amount per student. The funding formula takes into account things like the English learner status, the special education status, the poverty status, and even down to the grade level of the student. Kindergartners and high schoolers and middle schoolers generate more funding through the funding formula than, for example, a fourth grader. So the vast amount of the money that you'll be approving today, well, actually, I think all of it is in the SEG. So it's what our operational budget is from the state. We also receive federal flow-through grants. Those include Title I is a federal flow-through grant. That's probably the most well-known one. That's for low-income students. Title II is for professional development of school leaders and teachers. And IDEA B is flow-through money to meet the needs of students with IEPs for special education. Because Mountain Mahogany is considered a school underneath the district of APS, APS submits the Title I application to the state. They can decide which schools will or will not receive Title I funding based on the poverty level. Mountain Mahogany's poverty level is about 67% as a community eligibility provision school, but I believe they set their threshold at 75%. So we did not receive any Title I funding in 25-26, and we will not in 26-27. Almost all schools get those federal flow-through grants. Mountain Mahogany is also set to receive some discretionary state grants. Those include educator fellows, who are educational assistants who are pursuing their college education and working in school at the same time. Out of school time, which funds our Awesome Hour program, not listed, but a grant we received this year is the community school grant, math lab, also the innovative staffing grant. Some state funding is only for facilities and maintenance. That is HB 33 and Senate Bill 9. That's funded through property taxes. So technically, I guess Mary would say that it's local funding and not state, but it usually flows through to the state and then back to us. Relevant information from the legislative session this year. There was a minimum 1% raise across the board for all school employees. So you'll see that reflected in our budget. There is an increase in health insurance rates. Well, both ways. So health insurance rates are raising like 10%. But the state has also mandated that schools, which previously could pay a minimum of 60% of premiums will now have to pay 80% of premiums. So that is going to increase employer costs, not just on employees who are getting their insurance through the school, but presumably some employees will now be switching their enrollment to health insurance through the school because it becomes a better deal as opposed to maybe they're getting it through a spouse's employer or other program. The cost of current school employees getting health insurance through the school starts July 1st, and then the new enrollment period opens up in October, and that will start for 2027. Did I get that right, Elizabeth? Close enough?
Yes, sorry, I was muted.
Okay, so the full cost of that change will not completely be borne this year. We would expect to see like increased costs on an ongoing basis due to this new law. Mountain Mahogany is going to be funded on 218.5 students for next year. Remember, the funding basis is the average of our enrollment on the 80th and the 120th days. This is a drop from last year, so that will impact our funding for next year. And we are receiving more funding due to a higher teacher cost index. The teacher cost index takes into account the level that teachers have achieved in their licensure, level 1, level 2, level 3, their years of experience, and tries to make sure that schools who have more teachers at, like, let's say level 3, which has a higher rate of pay, that the funding formula generates enough units in order to fund those positions. We've already talked about the budget process. We're here today on April 20th, assuming the budget is fully approved by the Governing Council tonight. Mary and Elizabeth will be working on the files all week. They're due to the Public Education Department by the 24th and to APS by May 1st. Our priorities for the 26-27 school year, we're working to make sure that we keep our current staffing and programmatic model to the greatest extent of possible. The budget you'll receive today from Elizabeth and Mary is conservative. It is also provides continuity. So we're not proposing eliminating any positions that we have right now. We may shift things around a little bit. People will change roles. We might use EAs in different ways, but we're not, for example, needing to cut positions. A big priority is to continue to develop our teacher pipeline through LEAP, which is an alternative licensing program, through the teacher residency programs the state is funding, and our innovative staffing model, which helps EAs take greater responsibilities in order to have teachers making impact across more classrooms. This year, we spent out the last of our Title I CSI grant. So Mountain Mahogany was getting school improvement funds. We got that grant originally, not this school year, but the school year before that. We didn't fully spend it out. We were allowed to carry it over this year. We spent that funding on our contracted dyslexia therapist. That funding will be totally expended by the end of this school year. So we're going to need to find operational money for the dyslexia therapist next year. We're always working on meeting our programmatic needs in special education and gifted education. Those continue to increase. So it's just something to be mindful of. We're trying always to make investments in that area. We are monitoring our school meal program to ensure that our costs are adequate for break even in the state's reimbursement for the breakfasts and lunches that we serve. Last slide, our challenges that we see for 26-27. The state is moving to a statewide student information system. It is Synergy, which we're familiar with, but it is not through APS any longer. So we're going to be doing more of our own state reporting, doing more of our own configuration. This may require us to bring on vendors to support our registrar, or maybe pay our registrar additional hours, because it's a big task for sure. Probably top at the list of challenges, we need to increase enrollment to make sure we get back to where we were last school year so that we can build on that in future years, especially as we're talking about increasing our facility capacity. Keeping in mind, again, that students with IEPs for special education and for gifted education do increase funding, but they also increase costs for staffing, and there's an administrative burden that goes along with that as well that we need to be mindful of when we're asking of our teachers. And finally, taking steps towards co-teaching and inclusion models for teachers to become dual licensed in special education and regular education. There is a program through the alternative licensure provider LEAP that is for teachers who have level 2 and level 3 licenses who also want to become special education licensed. So I'm hopeful that a number of Mountain Mahogany teachers will be going through that next year in order to become dual licensed. And that is my presentation for the budget. I don't want to forget to go through our family input, but why don't we pause here for questions and comments at this time?
I did want to clarify that we'll be going over the summary budget that you'll be asked to approve. This is more of a summary about an overview of the process and the funding that we saw from the state this year.
Right.
Lori, is that? Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, you can go ahead.
I don't see the link for that slideshow in the on the website. Are you going to add it to that?
It's in there now, kind
It's
of
in
maybe
there.
try refreshing your page.
Okay, yeah,
It's
because I
the
just want to
budget
share it with the
presentation.
staff for my notes.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Thank you for doing
Uh,
that. Did you have anything else, Kana?
no, I was just looking for it.
Okay. All right. So,
We also had up on the budget or on the website the results from the budget surveys that we asked for our families. And so that's also been put up on the website for you all to look at. I think Elizabeth may go over a little bit of that.
Mary, I'm going to go over that next. I just
Okay.
paused here to see if there are any questions on what I've presented already.
I'm sorry. Thank
That's
you.
okay.
don't apologize. Okay. So, Lori, first, it sounds like APS once again increased the threshold for Title I. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. And I was pleased to hear, and thank you for highlighting. I do agree. Like, if we're losing funds, like the CSI funds, we have to, I mean, you spent it on something, so we need to find another funding source. But I'm happier that we're not CSI, and I'm happier that we don't need to fill out a school improvement grant application.
Yeah, I agree. That money should be for schools that, are at that stage of their transformation. I don't believe Mountain Mahogany is at this point. And also it was a bear and I think it's gotten only worse as far as paperwork and administrative burden for that particular source of funding. So,
And as someone who in my day job is involved with those schools that do have a higher need of support, I would completely agree with you that Mount Mahogany is a different type of school and a different type of place right now.
yeah, thank you.
Um, Lori, in the past, when you've done director reports, you've given, the enrollment over time, and then also for example, the percentage of students who have IEPs.
Mhm.
And I've always had in my mind that roughly a third of students at Mountain Mahogany have IEPs. Is that
Mhm.
about where we are right now?
I would say that that's roughly accurate. It does not include those students with gifted only IEPs, which have been increasing since the state changed the criteria for um, gifted only evaluation. So if you added in gifted only students, we start to creep up over 40% as far as total number of IEPs.
I appreciate having that number as well. I will say, and this is for Rainey and Hay, is as part of my elevator speech when I brag about Mount Mahogany. I do talk about the extent to which the school serves students with disabilities
Mhm.
and the performance of the school in general and how that looks different from our authorizer.
Yes.
And you mentioned as a challenge enrollment, we're going to be funded on 218.5.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we right now with enrollment?
Good question. We've had the lottery and we have offered spots. We've secured the re-enrollment of students who are here now. Of course, that, can change. Give me one second. I have a daily tracker when it comes to enrollment. Let's see. Is that right? Two. Looks like we're at 216 for next year right now.
Okay. And, we want to be around 225.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I mean, it's 9 students, but 9 out of 225, it's a percentage.
Yeah. We'll continue to enroll students, all through the spring and into the summer. We do need to do some work around that, and I have some plans to kind of try and generate enrollment. What our biggest area to drive enrollment is middle school.
Okay. Okay.
I'm available this summer to help Lori.
Thank you, Connor.
After actually
Yeah.
after 5:20, I'm available
Okay. Sounds good.
Those
if you
are
want
my
help.
those are my questions and comments. Rainey and Hay, any questions or comments about the budget presentation?
No, no questions.
Okay. Rainey?
Well, I guess a follow-up from the 218.5. It does that number tend to fluctuate or decrease
Mm.
as the school year actually starts up?
Yes. And it tends to decrease. Sometimes when students withdraw or change schools, we have students on the waiting list to fill those spots. But even if, like, imagine we have a very long waiting list for kindergarten, but kindergarten enrollment is very time sensitive. If I can enroll them before the first day of school, then they're happy to come here. But once their student has started kindergarten in another school, they're very unlikely to move them unless things are going poorly at that school or they truly, truly, this is like their dream school and they're willing to undergo the upheaval to make the transition. So once the school year starts, a lot of kids who are on the waiting list who might have been a yes previous to the school year starting turn into no thank yous. So, yeah, we do accept students throughout the year. And then, of course, students leave for a variety of reasons. It's a poor fit. The commute is, more than they anticipated. They run into a peer conflict, and it can be hard to solve those if, all the kids. It's a very small school. It's hard to get distance from a kid that, your student is not getting along with. So all those are factors in withdrawals over time.
Gotcha. Thank you.
But I can prepare once maybe we get to the end of the school year, I'll prepare a full report from this year so you guys know exactly how many students withdrew, what percent have IEPs. As the enrollment tends to drop a little bit as the school year goes on, the percentage of students with IEPs tends to go up as the school year goes on for, both because your denominator becomes smaller and because students are identified throughout the year and receive their IEP. So there are kids on the 40th day who don't have IEPs that by the time you get to the 120th day or the end of the school year do have IEPs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's all I had.
Great.
Yeah.
Lori, back to you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. I'm excited to share this with you guys. We actually got a great response to this survey. about the budget priorities. So we had 34 responses. This question was, what aspects were a high priority to you, a medium priority to you, or a low priority to you, or does not apply to your child? So you can see that math intervention and reading intervention were high priorities to a lot of respondents. The school gardening program got a lot of high priorities. Educational assistant in the classroom, 78.8% of respondents said that was a high priority. The social emotional team support was a high priority. Special education programs, a high priority. Let's see, what was the lowest priority? Looks like middle school athletics and extracurricular activities. Not necessarily because that's a low priority, but if more of the respondents were not in middle school, it might have marked that way. Because we did get 11% there saying it did not apply to their child. And then describe what you value most, or what you value in a Mountain Mahogany education, a low ratio of student for individual learning, a natural campus, a community vibe, caring staff, sending home food at the end of the week. That's something that our community school coordinator, Bella, started buddy boxes. SES supports in the classroom and the SES intervention team. It's a safe place, having an EA in the classroom, smaller class sizes, feeling of community, quality curriculum, engagement from the staff, inclusivity, the importance of my child's special services, communication, special education and gifted, education beyond test preparation, the diverse group of people and community, outdoor education, time spent outside. The Awesome Hour program has been very impactful for my children. The garden program is very important to my son and helps make the school better. Incredible, vibrant education. Lots of beautiful, beautiful feedback. There's a suggestion here to maybe make the classes smaller. A music program would be great too. And then describe what you think the single highest budget priority should be in the upcoming year. Paying the teachers more, free meals, smaller class sizes, ideally a co-teacher model, increased staffing for every classroom, improving adult to child ratios. Gifted and special education support should be the highest budget priority. The community school strategy and out of school time, retaining good teachers. I think about that a lot. Because the thing I value most at Mount Mahogany is inclusivity. I feel it's essential. Classrooms are stacked with enough quality EAs to truly support students with a variety of needs. If kids with different needs aren't able to access a strategy to help them engage in classroom activities, they aren't able to fully participate in their education. So many beautiful, thoughtful, responses to this survey. I just thought it was really lovely to read. Supporting the ongoing professional development of staff. Maybe put more money into a higher quality school breakfast and lunch program. It doesn't seem they are given very healthy option. My son comments that students throw out a lot of their lunch because the quality is so poor. Keeping EAs in the classroom. Oh, and there was one comment about, is there, the quality of the after school program. They didn't mean Awesome Hour. They mean our partner, which we aren't in charge of running, if they're truly meeting the needs of students. So Anyway, I thought you guys would appreciate that. You can read the comments at your leisure, but I just wanted to kind of highlight the vibe of the comments we got. A lot of wonderful supportive things and very thoughtful suggestions about ways that we can invest in the school.
Look, I agree 100%. I mean, a lot of positive comments,
Mhm.
always good. But even the ones where they're providing constructive
Yeah,
feedback across the board, it's constructive. Like
yeah.
no one's nasty or
Yeah,
mean, where you read all of these and it's like it's just very thoughtful, just using the word that you used.
yeah, yeah. Just seeing little things, right? That, could enhance the learning for students
Right.
and our community. So
Lori, what I would love to see is next year if you asked for the grade band,
that's a good suggestion, Kana.
because those do not sound like very many. The academics, I'm like, well, that sounds like a middle school parent.
Oh, I
But
think academics are important across the board. And, I mean, yeah, I think asking for the grade band would be a useful for analyzing the data. Make
And
a note.
given the number of responses, I mean, I have to be careful with this comment, but seeing that there for reading intervention and math intervention is dark blue,
Mhm.
that really resonates with me, and I'm pleased to see the extent to which families are focused on academics and I mean intervention, in the event that their child is behind, just making sure that there's a structure in place to support all students in
Yeah,
their learning.
for sure.
This is great. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah. So, like Mary said, now you guys get to see actual numbers. So my part of the presentation is pretty much over, but I'll turn it over to Elizabeth for the next steps. But thank you for the opportunity to share.
So I am going to present the salary schedules, and they are basically the same as last year, except we have incorporated the 1% increase for all staff. And we have adjusted somewhere in here, there is, here it is. So what counts as a full year of experience? It was 0.5 FTE. We have dropped it to 0.4, and that's to match with the micro-credential program and what is in that program. So those are the only changes that were made. If anybody has any questions.
So I did want to just let the board know how we utilize a required 1% and the salary schedules. So what we do for every employee is we calculate what an 1% increase is, and then where they would show up based on their licensure, their education, their licensure, their education, and their years of service. And we compare those two, and whichever is highest is what is budgeted and what is that person is paid for at that time.
So are there any questions on the salary schedule?
I do not have any questions.
Nope.
Well, in that case, we respectfully request the GC approve the Mount Mahogany salary schedules for the 26-27 school year.
And that is item 6.9.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve the Mount Mahogany Community School salary schedules for the 26-27 school year.
This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Hay and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.10, recommendation to approve Mount Mahogany Community School calendar for the 2026-2027 school year for submission to APS and PED.
Lori, did you still want to do that, or do you want me to do it? You're muted.
Sorry. Is it easy for you to pull it up?
find it, but it should be. So you guys have seen a very similar version of this that you approved in January because we needed a calendar for the SIS. The only change, am I sharing it or not?
I'm
Yeah.
sharing it, Elizabeth.
Okay. So I'm just covering my screen so I can't see it. So the only change is down at the bottom. Actually, I uploaded a more recent version, I hope.
Yeah, I got this from what you emailed yesterday, so
Yes. Yeah, so the only difference, you want me to share that? Let me see if I can
sure.
share. Is down at the bottom, and this is something that the PED budget people requested last year, and to prevent them coming back to us and asking for the change again, I put it in there, and that is we are counting the parent-teacher conference and field trip days for middle school as instructional time, and so they wanted that wording down the bottom, so I put it down there that there's no school for elementary, but we are doing field trips for middle school for both the fall and the spring. So that is really the only change from the calendar that you approved in January. And I'll go back down there, sorry.
I guess that brings up a question for me, Elizabeth. So it says March 22nd to 26th, spring break,
I
no
put that in the
school.
wrong spot. It's supposed to be with the spring conferences. I'm so sorry. Clearly I was rushed when I did
Thank
that.
you. Okay, good.
I will fix it. Can you approve it as amended or whatever you do? I will promise I'll fix it.
And so, yes, when we do the motion, if we could do that amendment, and it's that line in the third column where it says for K-5 and field trips for middle school, it should be moved up underneath March 11th and 12th spring conferences, correct, Elizabeth?
Correct.
Okay.
That's where it belongs.
Otherwise, middle school will be going on field trips instead of a spring break.
They would not appreciate that, and neither would the families. I think that would be a deal breaker.
Maybe the families would, Elizabeth.
And parents can go off and do whatever they want for a week.
How about we not take the chance?
Yeah.
But otherwise, Elizabeth, besides the wording in terms of the instructional days, the days off, the days of the conferences, those all remain the same compared to what we approved earlier.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Is there a motion and a second?
Yes, this is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve the Mount Mahogany Community School calendar for the 2026-2027 school year for submission to APS and PED, pending that adjustment to the March 11th and 12th and March 22nd through 26th
Perfect.
amendment.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Hay, and I approve.
And the motion passes. Item 6.11, recommendation to approve the Mount Mahogany Community School budget for the 2026-2027 school year for submission to APS and PED.
And here are the real numbers to go along with what Lori's presentation. So the top part with the revenue, the state equalization guarantee, also known as the SEG, was based on a unit value of $7,107.10 for 218 students, which sounds so weird. And so there is also a piece in here. There's additional $59 million that the state allocates, and we get a very small percentage of it. And we have estimated that we will get out of that 59 million, $47,707. And this is based on what we got last year. So that could change. And if it changes, then we'll make adjustments in our expenses to match.
Which
And
line was
then,
that, Elizabeth? I apologize.
sorry?
Which line was that?
That's in the state equalization guarantee.
Okay.
So it's in addition to, but it comes through as part of the SEG. So, um, and then as far as the expenses, like Lori mentioned, no positions were eliminated. We did give a 1% raise for all employees. And we also estimated our increased healthcare costs from the combination of an increase of 9.95% plus switching to 80% employer pay coverage for all employees. We were on a sliding scale where we covered 60% for the highest paid employees and 80% for the lowest. Um, and then as far as our service and supply estimates for next fiscal year, those are based on our expenses to date in fiscal year 26 with an estimated increase based on what we've seen the past few years. We did move some of our supplies like down here in more in the facilities to here to other funds to use them up. And are there any questions or anything in particular that anybody would like to look at closer?
I have a few questions. So just to
Okay.
confirm, not losing any positions.
Correct.
Awesome. Lori, can you talk about the extent to which that family survey informed the development of the budget?
Well, obviously prioritizing keeping EAs in the classrooms is a big part of this budget. And continuing our staffing for special education. I think we have a number of folks who are in the process of getting their gifted endorsement, like Kana. And so, making sure that we can meet the needs of our gifted caseload either that way or through hiring for gifted is something that's on my mind. If that's probably a 27, 28 project, more than a 26, 27 project. Just as much because there's no physical places to provide the service as it is because, of staffing. This funding, this budget, we talked about reading intervention. 2 years ago, we had to absorb the reading interventionist into our operational budget. We continue to do that out of Title I. Reading intervention includes the dyslexia therapist, so we're absorbing the dyslexia therapist into this budget. Math intervention, we don't have to have the math intervention as a part of our budget because we have external grant funding for that. We have innovative staffing to help support those of us who want to go get our special education license. That includes myself, and Kana has expressed some interest in as well. So I think it's really geared towards maintaining what we have and trying to kind of make sure as we hopefully grow in future years, both the size of our campus and the size of our enrollment, that we have a really solid foundation to do that from. Additionally, we don't know yet if we will receive the community schools grant or the out of school time funding grant. So it is a conservative budget, keeping that in mind that we don't know yet about those sources of funding.
Great. And
Brian, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
It's Mary. I'd also like to point out that if you go to the bottom, which you're looking at, the percentage of the budget that's in direct instructional and student support. So that's your ancillary, that's your, direct student, either instruction, or student services is 84% of the budget. PED and APS normally want to see 75% budget in those areas. So we tend to push most of our monies into those direct instruction and instructional support functions.
Mary, you must have been.
To a pretty extraordinary degree, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary, you read my mind. That was on my list of questions and comments. And that being so far above where we need to be, that aligns with my values as well. So kudos for making that happen. And Lori,
I do have to caution. I mean, we have built into some of those operation and maintenance of plant, which is all our utilities and supplies for several areas. I am concerned, and I think everyone is concerned about the cost of utilities, electric and gas, continuing to increase. So we've tried to put cushion in there, but I'm not sure how much cushion we need. And so that's one of the other reasons why we try to budget somewhat conservatively to try and give us some cushion in case some of those expenses kind of go wacky in our current environment.
also, Lori, I appreciate what you said about the extent to which the school wants to increase the number of educators who are dually licensed. Given the percentage of students with disabilities in particular, I think keeping us abreast of the progress that teachers are making. When I think about, like, again, how I talk about the school and how I brag about the school, that would be another great data point
Hmm.
when I talk about this school. So if you can keep us posted on that, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And then my last question, toward the top, of course, we have the 2% taken off the top of the SEG. And um, my wonder is whether our authorizer provides us with information about where that money goes and the support that we receive from those funds.
You want to take that one, Lori, or me?
I think Brian
Here's
meant it tongue in cheek.
I have never
uh,
seen a
no.
breakout specific to mountain mahogany. My understanding is that they're required to provide some numbers to the legislature. I've never had an opportunity to examine those to see if they match the perception at the school level of the support. That is not to say we do receive some meaningful and helpful support from APS. Um, 2% it turns out it's a lot of money. So
Just for information purposes, that 2% over all of APS's charter schools is about $5 million.
Thank you very much. Kana, not tongue in cheek. I'm genuinely curious.
But you knew the answer,
Generally
kind
speaking.
of. Yeah.
I want to give Hay and Rainey an opportunity to ask any questions.
I don't have any.
Okay.
I don't have any.
All right.
So Brian, before we move to approve, I did have one other thing to mention. There is a form that I need you guys to sign. It's the 901B10. I was going to try to send it out during the meeting, but I'm having some issues with this software that I'm using. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that there'll be something headed your way.
At this point, Elizabeth, should we expect that in our inboxes tomorrow?
Maybe tonight.
Okay.
I think if I get off the call, I should be able to do it, hopefully.
Okay.
But if you could get that back to us by Wednesday, that would be great.
Yep. Given the upcoming due dates, we can commit to that.
So if
All
there's no more
right.
questions, then we respectfully request that you approve the budget for the 26-27 school year.
All right. Is there a motion and a second?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve the Mountain Mahogany Community School budget for the 2026-2027 school year and submissions to APS and PED.
Okay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Okay, and I approve.
But the motion passes, and I just want to thank the whole team there at the school for the conversation and the slideshow and responding to all of my questions. This was a job well done, so thank you very much. Item 6.12, next Finance Committee meeting is May 7th, 2026. Item 7, Policy Committee. 7.1, no summary from previous Policy Committee meeting. 7.2, a recommendation to replace policy JL. Is that an I or a 1? I think it's a 1. Emergency medication with policy JL2, administration of medication at school. And Lori, are you leading this conversation?
I am. So this is the medication policy that you guys looked at last month. We previously had a emergency medication policy. That information is subsumed into this overall medication at school policy. If you look at, actually, Elizabeth, if you're sharing your screen, you no longer need to. So if you look at what was up, no, Kana's got to go. Bye, everyone. Bye, Kana. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Donna.
So if you look at the policy that was uploaded in the meeting materials, it's the same as we looked at last month, except for there is one addition. And then Brian, that's to your question about what if a student tries to share medication with another student? It's obviously not allowed. You had a second question about if anything in the policy needs to specifically address students with IEPs. And the answer is no. If you have an IEP and a health condition, you get the plan for your health condition. And then we just note that information within the IEP, essentially.
Thank you very much for being responsive to my questions. And I'm thrilled to see that there's language in the latest draft about students
Mhm.
sharing with others. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So
Was
if it, go ahead.
I apologize. Was that just new language that was dropped in?
That's correct.
Okay.
Would you like, so the new language that's dropped in is, let's see, sorry. Let me find the right one.
It looks like our HINJ all new for under general medication rules.
I just re-lettered them to make it like, so we didn't have to indent as much.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yep. Got it. So
yeah,
only J is new.
correct.
We'll give her a chance to come back. Rainey and Hay, did either of you have any questions about the draft or proposed?
For both over-the-counter and prescription medications.
Hey, that's correct. This policy does encompass over-the-counter and prescription medications.
Okay. Rainey, anything from you?
I was going to ask if the policy was on the website, but I eventually found it. So no questions.
Lori, thank you again for being so responsive.
Of course.
All right. I think we're ready for a motion and a second.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to replace policy, and I've already forgotten JL1, I believe, emergency medication with policy JL2, administration of medication at school.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And the motion passes. Item 7.3, next policy committee meeting to be determined. Item 8, academic excellence committee. 8.1, summary from previous academic excellence committee meeting on April 14th. So I will take that one. We spent the majority of our time, well, Lori gave us an update on all of the surveys that are out and surveys that will be going out. She gave us an update on the quality of education survey, the family budget survey, and of course, she shared those responses, the results earlier in this meeting. At the time, students were taking the panorama survey, and then before our next meeting in May, the plan is to distribute electronically a staff survey, which includes several questions which will help us get baseline data for our school's strategic plan. Also, during the meeting, we talked about the innovative staffing grant, which Lori talked about today and has discussed during previous meetings. And also talked about a little hiccup from from the state perspective, the public education department requiring some revisions to 2024 state testing results for 7th grade math in particular. And then earlier in this meeting, Lori talked about the assessments that will be administered in May. And I assume that, as she always does, she'll share those with the Academic Excellence Committee when those results come in. Lori, anything that you want to add from a Academic Excellence Committee perspective?
Just that students will also, once state testing is over, we'll start administration of our annual student survey as well.
Okay. Rainey and Hay, any questions for me or Lori regarding the Academic Excellence Committee?
No.
All right. With that, our next meeting is on May 6th. Item 9, Council Development Committee. 9.1, review status of board member training hours and training opportunities. We did receive an email recently, last Tuesday, in fact, with the status of our training hours. We are now in the middle of April, quickly approaching the end of the fiscal year. So I'm going to provide a slightly stronger urging that we get those hours wrapped up. In part, well, number one, it benefits us as governing council members, but also when it comes to accreditation from the states, the extent to which that board members meet their training requirements do feed into accreditation. And I would like our completion of the hours to reflect positively on the school. All right. Item 9.2, review recruitment of board member candidates for governing council. If you do come across someone who expresses interest, as always, you can put them in touch with me and I can have a conversation with them about the benefits of GC membership. Item 10, Director Support Committee. 10.1, nothing to report. Item 11, Audit Committee. 11.1, recommendation to accept the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 as presented. And who would like to lead this agenda item?
Well,
So Mary was going to present, but I can't tell if she's frozen.
Oh.
there.
Yes.
I got lost. Are we ready for me?
Yep, Mary, we're on the audited financial statements.
Okay. So Elizabeth, could you pull up the summary sheet that we have?
Of course, I pulled up the wrong thing. Let me go find the summary. Sorry, I pulled up the extract, but I had the summary too.
So it has, I commend you all. This is one of our longest meetings in a long, long time. And so I am going to, Brian and Renee have already seen this. I'm going to kind of do this somewhat quickly, just so we don't have you all like falling asleep talking about an audit report. So I'm going to go over the audit report summary. And if anybody wants to take a longer look and has questions, then I'll be glad to meet up with you and go over what an audit report looks like. So the audit report is an extraction from APS's audited financial statements. Starting in 2024-25, we decided not to have self-standing financial statements issued. That cost always added about $3,000 to our audit fee. I'm sorry, we have a dog we're house sitting. So we didn't really use those standalone audited financial statements. So we went ahead and discontinued that. And so we only basically show up in Albuquerque Public Schools. Since we started showing it, we really haven't, or since we started combining it, we really haven't seen the need to have that additional cost. So we're going to continue with that philosophy. It looks a little odd because we're extracting things from APS's audit report. But the things that the board should be very aware of is we have received what is called a clean opinion. And I'm sorry, it says Moss Adams, but it's actually Clifton, Larson, and Allen this year. A clean opinion basically says that there are no material differences in our financial statement that the auditors found, and that the school's financial statements have been properly shown in accordance with the government accounting standards boards. And sorry, Tim, can you please, and the GAAP rules that relate to those financial statements for governmental entities. We have several levels of financial statements as governmental entities. That those first couple pages are very small, T2, T3. They're called the government-wide financial statements and include any and all assets and liabilities that we don't normally account for. And so they don't look very good because we have to put on our financial statements the retirement board's, our portion of the retirement board's liabilities. And we have to show the retiree healthcare portion of their liabilities. And those are in the millions of dollars because they're what they may, an actuary says we may have to pay out in the next 30 years for employees. So they have somewhat limited usage for us. And they're more just for the top level financial statement nerds. And I understand them and I do them. I just don't appreciate it because it doesn't have a lot of meaning for us. We have something, pages T4 through T9. You'll see at the bottoms. Those are our combination of balance sheets. Those are called modified accrual. And we have to take our cash basis financial statements that we give you on a quarterly basis. We have to go 60 days for revenues, 90 days for expenses after year end, and anything we pay that relates to the prior fiscal year, we have to make an entry and say we need to acknowledge that these expenses were really related to the year that just ended. We try to pay as much as we can. However, it's notorious. Well, my cost comes in July because I'm billing through the end of June. Our utilities usually cross month ends. So there are expenses that we review, determine if it's material, and then we'll make journal entries or propose journal entries and provide those to the auditors. If we do not do that step, then they will say that we don't have the knowledge in order to prepare our own financial statements, and that would be an audit finding. So we do have to understand how to do those modified accrual entries. We have to understand what those concepts are, and we have to apply them to our cash basis financial statements. So that's kind of what your balance sheets and your statement of revenues. And I'm going to scroll down because one of the things I like to always make sure, one of our emphasis is cash balance, and that's an emphasis for everybody. PED wants to see us having cash balance for emergencies. APS wants us to have cash balance for emergencies. At the end of fiscal 24, we had $318,000 rounded off in our operational fund as fund balance. For us, it would be net worth if you were a person, or what your net worth is. We at the end of 25, we increased that actual net worth by $68,000. So we have $386,000 sitting in the bank that has basically is our savings account. We have not spent that money. It is approximately 1% or approximately 1 month of expenses for us. In addition to giving an opinion on our financial statements, the auditors also review things, and if they find problems or issues, we get something called a finding. There are several different kinds of findings, and I want to make sure that you all understand what those mean. There are material weakness findings, which means the school cannot or does not have adequate controls to protect the assets of the school. There's deficiencies, which is a step down from material weaknesses. Both of those kinds of findings relate to our ability to properly state the financial statements of financial responsibilities of the school. Those are not good findings to have. We have not had them. I think we've had them 1 year in many, many years that I've been involved in the school. And the contractor that we used that year, because I had actually retired, we found out about it and we fixed it the following year. So our finding this year, we had one, and it related to our year-round employees and the odd situation where there were actually 261 work days in the fiscal year rather than the normal 260 days. And my error, I said, we owe that additional day to those employees who do year-round work. And the auditors and our legal team has come back and concurred that because they are salaried employees, they just get to donate a day of work. And so we should have capped our accrual for those expenses at the salary in the contract. And so we have made a change to our policy and procedure, or our procedure, that says that we will compare that to, that calculation. And if if it's higher than what the contract says it would be limited to, then we would limit that to the contract. I will say that when the employee who is involved found out about the overpayment, they proceeded to write a check to the school and donated those funds back to the school. That is the only finding we received. We did not have any findings for the previous year. There's another thing that happens is if this finding showed up again next year, then they get very upset. And the state auditor gets very upset because we haven't fixed what they found. So we have no findings in fiscal year 24. We have one finding in fiscal 25. And that finding, again, we've changed our procedure in order to address that change. I can probably have Elizabeth bring up the procedure so we can show you that we have changed it, or we can just maybe send it out to the board so that we can. Lori, you're yawning. I know the audit's boring.
Faster.
I think what we'll do is we'll send it to the board members that shows where that procedure was changed, so that we can say that we showed you that we found the problem, we identified the problem, and we have fixed it for future purposes. I hope this summary helps. It's pretty dense material. So if you would like to sit down and do so slower, let me know, and I will be glad to set up a Zoom with a board member or sit down with them in person to talk about what the audit report is. The good news is it's a good audit report. We had one finding, and we just continued doing good work in the finance department.
I agree. Are there any questions for the team regarding the audit?
No.
If there aren't, then we would request that the administration accept the presentation of the annual audit.
Is there a motion and a second?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to accept the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending 6/30/2025 as presented.
Okay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Dan, I approve.
The motion passes. And Mary had referenced the length of the meeting, but given that we've got the audit and the budget and bars, I think we did a very good job this evening. We have made it to item 12. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to adjourn.
I hope there's a second.
Hay wants us to go all night.
Wait, did you catch it?
No, not yet.
Oh, sorry, I thought mine up. Okay, sorry. This is Hay, and I second it.
There we go. Let's do a roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Dan, I approve.
The motion passes and the meeting is adjourned at 7:17 p.m. Thank you, everyone.